This is Jay.
And Jack.
Here to talk about Jay and Jack Plus, our new podcasting venture where we do podcasts about Fringe,
Games of Thrones,
Firefly,
The Married Man Show,
Jay and Jack TV,
and more.
And it's only for 1 penny for the first month, and that is awesome. So you can check that out at jayandjacktv.com. Click on the Plus feed, become a member for only 1 penny.
You can try it for a penny, 1 month for a penny.
So check it out. Hasta luego, and goodbye.
Bye.
The show would clearly know that there were shenanigans, but there were a lot of people who were sort of, should we be taking this seriously? It feels like mommy and daddy are fighting, and and that's, we've always talked about, and that's particularly one of the greatest things about the con is that there's just a certain degree of, hey, we're all in on the joke, but it's still fun to sort of create a false reality for you guys, and I really cannot believe what the fuck is happening to me. It's just, he's now putting on his jeans.
We didn't think through this part.
That's not the first time we said that either.
One question we wanted to ask
But it's working.
One question we wanted to ask was, now that you've had some distance from the show and moved on to other things, as you look back now, is there one thing that you wish you could try again, or tackle in a different way, or had more time to do this? Is there one thing looking across like the run of the series that still intrigues you?
In hindsight, and I think that we've talked about this before, when Carlton and I and the writers started talking about wanting the show to end, we were always feeling that it was probably going to be more like 5 seasons and 100 episodes. But that was something that we had no control over. And at the time that we were having those conversations, everyone in our lives was telling us they're never going to let you end the show, period. And so the idea of what would Lost have looked like, maybe sort of 20 episodes shorter, and then you go, well, what 20 episodes go away? It doesn't work that way. It's more like you just don't have to stretch out the story as much. And things that we've sort of talked about ad nauseum, like locking the characters up in cages at the beginning of season 3, it just affected the pacing. So, but it happened exactly the way that it happened, and those episodes kind of needed to happen in order to get an end date. So you can't really deny them their sort of presence in the lexicon. And, you know, we've heard multiple times since the show has ended, a lot of people now are coming to the show for the first time. They're watching it on DVD or they get it on Netflix. And when you watch it from beginning to end, the idea of sort of seasons kind of goes away, and all that's left is story. So maybe it went on a little bit too long, but you know, I couldn't tell you which episodes I wish didn't exist.
I still get rid of the Jack and Ace tattoo episode.
Yeah. But then we'd have nothing to kvetch about.
Oh, we have stuff.
Sure.
All right, three housekeeping things. We really do want this time to be a question for you guys. So we definitely want a lot of questions for these guys to entice you. I don't think they need much enticing.
There's a long line.
If you come to ask a question, we have a poster for you. Can we see this poster? We have the posters. We have.
More color bars? Color bars?
We will get these posters.
Why did you talk about that?
I think you have a better...
Here comes Josie with the posters.
One of the things about this fan community, of which you are a part and of which we are enormously just grateful to have, is that we are really interested in what you guys think about the show, even though it's been over for a year. And these things sort of filter over to us, whether it's fan fiction or art that you're doing or tattoos that you're putting on your body for the rest of your life. It's enormously flattering and amazing, and we saw this piece of art online, and then there was this very sort of compelling and emotional story behind it. That's the Star Wars theme. And this was created by a gentleman named J.J. Harrison, and he did a YouTube.
JJ's here. JJ, you want to wave?
JJ, where are you?
JJ's in the back.
through a series of perhaps Hurley curse numbers-esque horrible things happening in his house, including the complete destruction of his plumbing system and mechanical difficulties with his car. He was not going to be able to take his family to Comic-Con this year, so we bought all these posters to give to you guys so that they could be here. And with every one of these posters, it's love from JJ for the show and making them, and our love back to all of you for carrying the torch, because it's just amazing that, you know, I kind of like a room like Hall H is nice, but this is much more intimate. I can actually see everybody's face. We're just so grateful for you guys being here.
I know you still have a couple more housekeeping things, but before we'd be remiss in not thanking everybody at the John Bernstein and everyone in his group, the DVD people, all the people who helped make that film. Rosalie and everyone at ABC for allowing us to make that. So that was great.
And of course, Titus and Mark and Jack, everybody did this for free. So thank you guys.
I think we'll show it one more time before we wrap up. Okay, so first question. If you go through your question, go get your poster.
First of all, thank you so much for Lost. It was such a great ride, and I love the finale.
Thank you.
I fell in love with Lost, the episode where Rose and Charlie said the Our Father together. I could cry thinking about it. It was the first of many times I cried watching the show. And one of my students said the next day, "Can they do that on television?" And the spirituality, the unembarrassed spirituality of the show, I thought was extraordinary. Did you any blowback from the network on that? Was there anybody trying to say, you know, that's not what we do?
No, actually not. I mean, that was kind of one of the great. One of the great things was, first of all, just in general, how supportive ABC was, given all the crazy things we did on the show. And you know, I think we tried very hard, particularly in the finale, when we showed that stained glass, which had religious symbols from all sorts of different types of faith, to say that we were kind of more interested in a statement that was spiritual as opposed to a statement that was specific to any one religion. And I think, you know, as long as they didn't have the perception, and we were not trying to proselytize for any particular faith. I mean, I'm Catholic, Damon's Jewish, you know, there are different writers on our staff had various different religious beliefs. You know, we were interested more in kind of evoking a sort of a larger sort of spiritual feeling, and kind of how we're all connected spiritually, not based on one specific religion.
Thanks. Poster. You got a poster. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Okay. I'm also someone who, this is the only reason I come to the Comic-Con. The only reason. My husband's been coming for 10 years, and I think I'm not the only one. There's a few people in here who only come because of Lost, and so thank you for that, for giving me something to do here, instead of just like costume watching. I get to finally come and get excited about something. Okay, so I'm sure like many, I have a million questions, so I've narrowed it down to one. Ben and Widmore. Okay, so they meet in Widmore's fancy mansion, and Widmore is sleeping, you know, and he wakes up, and Ben then says, one of them says to the other, "I wish I could," right. So, one of them says to the other, "I wish I could kill you," or something like that. Why couldn't Widmore and Ben kill each other?
This is gonna feel like a dodge, and then it's gonna morph into something slightly more specific, which is questions that start with "why can't?" You know, the ultimate answer is because they don't. And in explaining, you know, what the insular rules of the show were, one of the things that we really wanted to do is that when we talked about the island, and whenever we talked about rules, there seemed to be rules that the man in black had to follow, or the smoke monster had to follow, or that Ben or Widmore had to follow. But when we started talking about these rules, then the construct becomes like, well, what happens if you break these rules? And it kind of got into the more meta interesting thing for us in terms of just society, which is these laws exist, but there's really nothing stopping you from breaking them. Like, you know, other than sort of your own moral code. And so the real question that you're asking is what would have happened if Widmore had killed Ben? And the answer is a very large mushroom cloud. Island gone, show over. We can't answer it because he didn't. He believed that he couldn't, and sometimes believing that you can't do something is enough.
Perfect answer, thank you.
Well, thank you.
Hi. It's really good to see you guys together again. I miss your podcast.
Are you talking to Dan and Jeff? I missed them too.
My question is, well, sort of, I just wanted to know who was in the other outrigger in season 5 that
Where is Alan Sethenwald? There you go. Yeah. Alan is yours. You didn't disappoint.
I mean, you know, one of the things that we've avoided doing, and I think that we will continue to do, is to not sort of be filling in the missing blanks sort of after the show is over. I mean, I think we don't want to be in a position of sort of answering questions that answer the unanswered questions. I mean, there are unanswered questions in the show, there are unanswered questions in life. You know, no one kind of gives us a sort of complete rule book about how we get through the world. We do the best we can, and I think that, you know, with the show, I think the same is true. There is no time to show up in a with a neat bow on top of it. I mean, I think we did the best we could and answered the questions that we wanted to answer, and I think that some of those things, you know, and also we felt like if somebody says, well, the answer to the question about the outrigger can be heard if you go to YouTube and you see Damon and Carlton who were at Comic-Con in 2011, that wasn't fair either, that, you know, they were like scattered like Horcruxes across the pop culture universe. So, you know, anything else you want to know?
but there are going to be.
But you can get a poster.
We will. I completely agree with everything that Carlton just said, and I just want to add that we talked on multiple occasions about the answer to that question, and we know the answer to that question, and we purposefully withheld it, and maybe that's frustrating, but for us it was kind of like the Russians and the Sopranos. It's sort of like, after answering, at that point in the game, we'd answer so many questions, and some of the response we were getting to those answers was, ah! You know, we're basically like, okay, the outrigger one is just going to stay unchecked, so sorry.
Very good segue to my question. I think in the last 25 years, the two most iconic shows were The Sopranos and Lost. And they had a lot of feedback from their finale as well, Tony. Did you guys mull that over a lot? Did you kind of expect about what ending you were going to get? There was going to be a lot of people who loved it, a lot of people who were going to be kind of up in the air about it. I think of Lost and Sopranos, the ending is kind of the same sentence.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely, first of all, when we talked a lot about that ending. I mean, we were like shocked, and both him and I really kind of ended up deciding we really loved this ending a lot. And, you know, we felt that there was absolutely no way to end Lost that was going to satisfy everybody. We knew that. And so we basically, you know, as we went on the journey, we knew pieces of the ending. And like any creative process, the farther you go, the more you color in and expand your creative vision. And, you know, when we got to the end of the show, we had a very clear idea of where we're going to end, and we executed our game plan. I mean, we did the ending that we wanted to do and that we believed in, and you know, we felt that you know, some people would not like it, but a lot of people would really embrace it, and you know, that we felt that was the best we could do.
And you know, there's a more nuanced answer to that question, which is, over time, especially in the years since the end of the show, when I get into conversations with people who say that they didn't like the finale in the glass half full way of looking at things, which is a slightly new perspective for me, is that it turns out that there were things about the finale that they really liked a lot. Like almost everybody kind of digs the idea that Hurley's in charge at the end, and that Ben's going to be his number 2. Yeah. Idea. Almost everybody kind of likes the idea that Jack dies. Like, they're kind of cool with it. Yeah, they're kind of cool with that. That it's sad, but they like it. It's when you start to get into the other territory of you know, what was the sideways world? What did it mean? What did it represent? That whole issue really speaks to the entire